What's more badass than forging a unique new path forward? Good evening, day dwellers and fellow creatures of the night. Welcome to Good News from a Goth, an unconventional place to find some silver linings in an otherwise doom and gloom dominated major news cycle. This may look different than what you're used to when you imagine the news, but if you think about it, who better to spot those pesky rays of light than someone who's accustomed to the dark? The little light that caught my eye today shines from northeastern England, where a pair of road warrior chefs who specialize in creating recipes tailored for altered taste issues caused by cancer treatment have used their unique expertise to help survivors of COVID who now find themselves with a significantly altered sense of taste and smell. The resulting cookbook, titled Taste Flavour, is now available as both a free download and physical copy. This first of its kind, officially COVID-specific cookbook contains culinary adventures designed to appeal to people managing the long-haul symptoms of diminished or altered taste. While the book is divided into 3 very standard sections of snacks, entrees, and desserts, the recipes themselves defy any regional classification, less relying on the narrow parameter of flavor alone and going more for the bigger picture of a wild ride for all available senses. This effort is especially relevant because 65% of people who caught COVID worldwide also received some form of taste and smell disorder. Data shows that 10% of COVID survivors still continue to deal with altered taste and smell issues as a long-haul symptom, and it is unfortunately possible that for 3% of survivors, this will be a permanent issue. This sudden change can have a big effect on quality of life as well as nutrition intake for a great many people, which is a huge problem. The authors of this cookbook have closely followed the research data generated by scientists studying this very specific problem to create recipes tailored to meet the unique and often frustrating sensitivities of COVID-related taste alteration. The pair closely worked with Professor Barry Smith, who researches the loss of smell in COVID patients and wrote the first paper on COVID taste loss. For the people with parosmia who now get very bad smells from certain foods, they eliminated all the ingredients reported to elicit those bad smells. For example, garlic, onion, eggs, and roasted meats sometimes become disgusting to some COVID patients, so none of those ingredients are in the book at all. For the people with anosmia who have a very muted taste and smell, they've made sure to include ingredients that give taste receptors an extra kick in the pants, like adding individual ingredients, each with their own bold flavor together to create a mega combo, plus ingredients that give a fulfilling savory feel to a dish, otherwise known as umami. For the anosmia peeps with no taste or smell at all, they've included very carefully considered ingredients that boost interesting textures and shapes, are very visually appealing, and get a response out of the trigeminal nerve. When things like cinnamon, mint, ginger, raspberry, or spicy peppers give your mouth a tingly feeling or make it water, that's your trigeminal nerve saying hello. These recipes were then reviewed and tested with actual COVID survivors with continued taste issues to make sure that they are all up to the task of providing positive stepping stones to a path toward a better eating experience. What really made this story stand out to me as awesome enough to make a video about is that this new and very much needed type of cookbook is available to anyone right now for free. I will provide the link in the video description box below. And if you're skeptical about it really being available to everyone, I decided to try it out and test a couple of recipes for myself. I wanted to test 2 things mainly. First, are the recipes easy to make? And if you're not a cook, especially. And the other thing is, I am not the target audience for this cookbook, so if you're in a mixed household with people with altered taste issues and without altered taste issues, how friendly are these meals for both types of people to be able to sit down and enjoy these recipes together. Here are some quick clips and some cliff notes of my experience both making and tasting these two dishes. I'm not much of a cook, but overall this recipe was very easy to make. The two hardest parts were chopping the herbs because I don't have a food processor, and mashing the potatoes, possibly because I didn't cook them long enough, but that was pretty much it. While I was cooking, I was quite worried that the whole thing would be overly salty from both the miso and soy sauce, but upon tasting, it was all surprisingly balanced. The potatoes were tangy to the point of tingling after a build-up, but never went over the top into being too much. The green chili gave a satisfying crunch, and I really like that you can choose which type of green chili you want so that you can control the amount of spicy heat. And the minced herbs gave a second texture to offset the starchy creaminess of the potatoes, which was really nice. My verdict is I'd totally make this again. From my perspective as someone without taste issues, this dish is a good addition to an inclusive meal for anyone to enjoy. A couple of the ingredients for the tart recipe were actually a little challenging to get. As this book is based out of England, some of the ingredients had different terminology I had to figure out for the American equivalent, and one of the types of sugar called for is easily obtainable in the UK, but a challenge to find in the US. So I had to make do with the right brand but wrong color of sugar. Other than those hiccups, this recipe was surprisingly easy and quick to make, and this is coming from someone who is a very novice baker. Looking at some of the ingredients while cooking, I was worried this tart would be overly grainy and dry, but there was some Jedi mind trick with the cherries, orange, and raspberries that caused enough of a mouth-watering response that neither of those things were an issue at all. With the amount of sugar I saw going in, I was worried that it would be overly super sweet, but it actually was just the right amount of sweetness to balance out the tartness of the cherries and raspberry and the acidity of the orange juice. The texture and very slight crunch of the cherries mixed well with the ground up almonds and tart crust, plus the visuals of the deep cherry red contrasting with the golden crusts was strangely fun to chase around the plate with my fork. My verdict is it's worth the effort procuring the ingredients to make this treat because it holds surprising delights for everyone. Even those not normally into desserts might go for this dish. The existence and awesome free availability of this first of its kind COVID-specific cooking resource kicks the door open to the realm of possibilities that are out there for survivors who are living with prolonged or permanently altered sense of taste, and shows that there are very real tools and tricks out there that can be used to create a new cuisine landscape. This gives survivors the power to forge their own new eating experience that, while may not be the same as before, can rise up to a similar level as before despite being different. There's even room to add some spookiness to your experience if you wish. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your time with me by clicking on this video. If you'd like to see more off the beaten track good news stories, hit the like button and subscribe. I'm just as curious as you are about where I'll find the next one. Until next time, remember to always be the mixture of light and dark you'd like to see in the world.